Hello, welcome to Mathe, a political statement, episode 3. The title of today's episode is going to be Finals Week because, well, it's Finals Prep Week. Next week is Finals Week at my college. And quite frankly, I've been so busy studying, I didn't have enough time or energy to organize regular episodes. So in today's episode, basically, I have two guests who I will introduce here shortly. And we're going to be doing completely blind readings of news articles for today. And then after I read them out loud, we are going to do reactions to them and kind of give our thought process. I expect today to be a less than serious episode. Yeah, we all know that I'm incredibly serious in episodes of this show. But without further ado, let me introduce our first guest, Nick. Do you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, hello. I was once a communist at heart and eventually became somewhat of a libertarian. So it's been an interesting journey throughout my high school / college career.
What's motivated that change?
Quite a few things. That sounds really corny, but my love for freedom, for one. I'm big on personal liberty, is what I mean. So
that'll do it.
Yeah. And then also my inspirational economics teacher in high school. I won't name his names for, I don't know, legal purposes or something, but he was a very good teacher and he inspired me to change my political views. So I'm very grateful to him for everything that he's given me.
Okay, nice. And Ethan, you want to introduce yourself? Talk a little bit about your views.
My views. I'm Ethan Babito. My political views are, well,
whenever you're ready.
I think, I will vote for whoever is going to do the best for our country, for one, but I definitely am leaning strongly more towards the Republican side and gun rights and shooting stuff.
Yep. Real conservative in here, I can feel it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have in the past, and I don't think I actually used this term in episode 1, but I am alt-light, not alt-right, alt-light as fuck.
He's coining the term now.
Oh, god damn it, you have to bleep that. My producer's shaking his head like, no, we're not bleeping that. Sorry, Grandma. So now that everybody's been introduced, and hopefully whoever is listening to this has listened to episode 1 so you get a better handle of my political views, let's kind of launch into news article reactions. So let's see. The first article that I have up right now is by CNN, fake news network.
Excellent.
And for the first article that we will be blind reviewing, is a CNN article, which is ironic because I've been very vocal, not necessarily in these episodes, but just on social media about how much I hate CNN. But CNN article, Senator Al Franken resigning in the coming weeks amid sexual misconduct allegations. I'm actually pretty surprised CNN's reporting on this. Historically, and when I say historically, I mean for the past few weeks, I've seen various leftists, such as people from SNL, actually coming out and saying that Al Franken should keep his seat, even though he's been had numerous sexual misconduct allegations. So let's pour into it. Al Franken resigning, calls out Trump and more. Democratic Senator Al Franken of Minnesota is resigning following allegations that he touched women inappropriately, he announced on the Senate floor Thursday. I am announcing that in the coming weeks I will be resigning as a member of the United States Senate, Franken said in an emotional address in which he said some of the allegations against him weren't true. Some of the allegations. Okay. The resignation brings a sudden and dishonorable end to the unlikely political career of the comedian turned progressive darling, first known to most Americans for his work on Saturday Night Live. Franken, who did not apologize during his speech, also called out President Donald Trump, who was repeatedly accused of sexual assault during his president campaign, and Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore, who faces accusations that he pursued relationships with teenagers and committed sexual assault while he was in his 30s. I, of all people, am aware that there is some irony in the fact that I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and a man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls campaigns for the Senate with the full support of his party, Franken said. More than 20 Democrats, including many who publicly called on Franken to resign Wednesday, were in the chamber to hear his speech, which lasted about 12 minutes. Republican Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, who has announced he would not seek re-election next year, also listened to his remarks. Following its conclusion, the Democrats in attendance hugged Franken's S-E-N-S. I have no clue what that's supposed to stand for. I'm going to just assume it's Senator. Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois and Claire McCaskill of Missouri. Claire McCaskill is the devil. Two Democrats who called for Franken to resign were both seen wiping their eyes. Franken's resignation means Minnesota Democratic Governor Mark Dayton will get to appoint a temporary replacement to the seat in the interim before a special election in November 2018. Dayton said Thursday following Franken's resignation that he has not decided on a replacement to fill the seat. Events have unfolded quickly, thus I have not yet decided on my appointment to fill this upcoming vacancy. I expect to make and announce my decision in the next couple of days, Dayton said in a statement. And then it just goes further into the allegations, and basically, from my understanding, he was just, accused of, I don't think he was actually accused of full-on rape, but he was accused of groping a woman's buttocks, as it says in the article, at the Minnesota State Fair in 2010. A couple of other little tits and bits of him just inappropriate sexual
tits and bits.
Tits and bits.
That was his problem in the first place.
Yeah, tits and bits. Sexual misconduct. And I think my very first reaction upon reading this article was when he was saying that Donald Trump admitted to sexual assault on tape. And I don't know how you guys interpreted that whole grab by the pussy thing, but I very clearly heard Donald Trump say in that tape, when you're rich, so I'm paraphrasing here, when you're rich, they'll let you touch them anywhere. They'll let you grab them by the pussy. And I think that when you say they'll let, that very strongly indicates at least some level of consent. And so I think to say that that's in any way, shape, or form an admission of sexual assault is absolutely ridiculous. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, the way he worded it certainly seemed like he meant that it was to be consensual. Mm-hmm. So, at least to some degree.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, didn't he say that when he was in, was it college, or?
No, it was a while ago. I want to say it was from 2006 or something. The Access Hollywood tape. It's old by I guess modern standards. I mean, I know it's been at least a decade, and as a matter of fact, I do believe that at the time of him making those statements, he was actually still at the time a registered Democrat.
Yeah, and I'm not implying that it, time makes anything okay, sexual misconduct or anything, but I highly doubt he'd do anything like that now. Yeah.
I will say the one very interesting thing on that note that I recently read was that Donald Trump he admitted to it and he apologized for it during the election, but I guess he very recently came out and said there's no proof that was actually me.
Well, of course he said that.
Very recently, and so I was like, but you admitted to it, and now you're saying that it probably wasn't even you? That doesn't... Do you have anything to say, Ethan?
Bitch, what? Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense, but like he said, he's a rich dude. He got a small loan of $1 million, and he can kind of bribe any girl to do anything that he wants with their consent. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, bribing that's not consensual, but it's technically prostitution.
Prostitution is, I'd say, is consensual.
It's a whole nother discussion, and I agree with you for sure. I'm just speaking legally.
Yeah. We do not advocate for prostitution, especially if they're minors.
Yeah, no, definitely not minors. I will advocate for prostitution. No, that's
LA fires. Why 2017's record wildfire season keeps getting worse. The Mercury News. I have never heard of the Mercury News, so
they're probably fake.
I'm gonna make this quick and short. I'm gonna have some predictions regarding this article. The state that's always on fire is on fire. So those are my predictions for what this article is going to be about.
I think I concur.
Yeah, okay. So even before the dramatic Southern California wildfires began their harrowing path this week, California has already experienced its deadliest and most destructive fire season ever. and it's only getting worse. In Ventura and Los Angeles counties, 4 fires driven by the Santa Ana winds are... It's always the Santa Ana winds. Are raging just 2 weeks before the start of winter, no less. By Wednesday, at least 150 at least 150 homes had burned, including at least 4 in the star-studded enclave of Bel Air.
They're foams now.
Yeah, the flames reportedly damaged structures on media mogul Rupert Murdoch's estate and threatened the homes of other celebrities, including Tesla's Elon Musk, because we all know he can't afford to buy another 5. Seriously, I'm surprised he hasn't designed some sort of system to automatically put out any fire near him. The Skirval fire closed Interstate 405 for a time on Wednesday, shuttered the landmark Getty Museum, and shut down classes at UCLA and the production of several TV series, including HBO's Westworld. I didn't realize Westworld was still going on. Why can't we have anything like this happen near our college so finals can be canceled?
Yeah, that's a great thing to wish.
Honestly, like I'm at a weird place where I'm half super confident for my finals and half like not at all confident for my finals.
I just want to be evacuated.
My goal. Can you imagine we're in the middle of Johnson's final, writing about whatever it is that he assigns, and all of a sudden, okay, you have to evacuate. I was writing about economic policy. You have to evacuate. No, okay. There's no sign of letting up. Thursday is going to be the worst day with the winds. Cal Fire. I feel like they always write these things like on the worst day, and then they refer to that like it'll be a Monday, and they're writing the article. I'm like, on Monday morning. It's like, but today, okay. There's no sign of letting up. Thursday is going to be the worst day with the winds. Cal Fire spokeswoman Lynn, unpronounceable last name, said Wednesday, we're expecting gusts up to or possibly worse than the North Bay fires. We're expecting gusts up to 80 miles per hour. Oh, come on, give me a break. If your last name's going to be complicated, you need to change it. It's not my fault if I can't pronounce it. So yeah. Shit's on fire.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, shit's on fire.
That's all there is to that one?
Yeah, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air got a little bit too fresh. I feel like the news articles for today just aren't... White House solved mystery of Donald Trump's slurred speech, and it has nothing to do with his teeth.
Wow, that doesn't sound like clickbait at all.
VA kills plan to cut homeless vet program after outcry. Palestinians clash with Israeli troops in protest over Trump's Jerusalem speech. This one's actually really fun.
Yeah, I heard about that one yesterday.
Okay, so it's becoming a not-so-blind news reading. Skirmishes erupt in West Bank and Gaza Strip. Trump's Jerusalem move sparks protests by Palestinians. What a surprise. It seems like it's always the Palestinians. But Ramallah, West Bank. Palestinian protesters battled Israeli soldiers on Thursday in Jerusalem, Ramallah, and other places in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, one day after President Trump announced that his administration would recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The Palestinian Authority called for a general strike in Palestinian cities. In Gaza, the Islamist Hamas movement urged its followers to ignite a third intifada. I don't know how to pronounce that. Or uprising against Israel. Shops in Jerusalem's old city were shuttered. Can you imagine this happening in America? It's like, well, Washington, D.C. is no longer going to be the capital. It's going to be...
Richmond.
It's going to be Richmond, Virginia. And then all of a sudden, mass protests over this. Literally, there's riots going on, and I'm sure there's probably 1 or 2 dead people. Solely because Trump was like, oh, let's recognize this as the capital of Israel. And let's be honest, the U.S. should have done that ages ago.
That was a campaign promise since Reagan.
It's been this should have happened a long time ago. The Middle East needs to get its shit together. They're protesting and rioting over a city being named the capital of the country. Are you... I just want to say this right now. Leftists, you can choose either Muslims are peaceful people, or you can't change Israel or Jerusalem to the capital of Israel because it might upset Muslims and cause them to be violent, but you can't choose both. You can't be angry about this and still claim the Muslims are peaceful people. Just saying. On the edge of Palestinian city of Ramallah, Israel forces fired dozens of rounds of tear gas and stun grenades at hundreds of Palestinian protesters gathering to air their anger over Trump's statement. This is how badass Trump is. Trump is such a badass that his decisions cause protests on the other side of the country. This will be bad.
Badass. That's the word for it.
No, it's great. I love this. Can you imagine Obama doing anything that would have upset people on the other side of the country? If anything, they'd be like, yes, he's folding like a deck of cards. Woo!
No, he just bombed them himself.
That's true. Obama. I don't know if Trump's beat him yet, but I know that Obama actually holds, or at least used to hold, I don't know if it's changed, the record for like the most bombs dropped
in like a minute.
in a given term. Like,
yeah, I think it was like a minute.
He
also tripled the nation's debt.
Yeah, something crazy like
Who
that.
hasn't, though?
I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. We were talking about how somebody should make a graph showing like exactly how raises in the national debt, how and when they occur. And it would look something like gradual slope, because it took us like a couple hundred years for us to get to 10 trillion, and then in the matter of 8 years it doubled to 20 trillion.
Yeah.
So that's insane. I would love to see that graph, because it would basically be a steady slope and then almost a vertical line.
I think there's be more like an exponential climb.
Maybe.
Which means that it's only going to get worse.
Yeah. We've actually been discussing this in our political science class.
We have.
Talking about the national debt. And I hate to get off topic,
my
but
brother had a national debt clock up the other day.
Mm-hmm. There's one in New York, but
yeah, I saw that
basically
our
the reason
debt.
The reason that sorry, my producer's like, don't bang the table. The reason that the national debt has climbed so high is because the U.S. has become progressively more and more of a socialist country, but we can't even commit to socialism. Like, we only do the good parts of socialism, but we absolutely refuse to do like the downside parts of socialism
Cherry
that are
picking, bro.
absolutely necessary. It's like, oh, I love living here, but I have to do chores. I don't think so. Hey.
This country was built on Christian values. We're masters at cherry picking.
That's incredibly true. Hey, it wouldn't be an episode of Mathe, political statement, if we didn't offend as many groups as possible.
Damn right.
My producer's like big old thumbs up. But yeah, so basically the reason that the national debt has gotten so out of control, and this actually might be our topic for our final, we'll find out on Monday.
Yeah.
Is because basically the U.S. is enacting all these Keynesian economic policies, like social welfare and all this fun stuff, without actually raising taxes, which is what you're supposed to do. The whole idea is you lower taxes, you create all these programs, create deficit spending, and then once everything's great, then you cut ties, and then raise taxes to collect from the big old money pot that you just created. However, can you imagine trying to get elected on, I'm going to raise your taxes by 10%? I would be very, very impressed. Well, Bernie Sanders got pretty damn close, which is a little bit scary. There's that many people that are like, what's that? You want to steal money from other people?
Because there's several million college students that want free college and everything.
You know what? This is actually a discussion that Nick and I have had for a while. Up until...
You bridged us into this, have you?
So actually, I have once again had to change my opinion on free college. And it just happened the other day.
Really?
I can't say it. And do you know what did it for me, ironically? Johnson's class.
Really? I'd love to hear about that. This is new to me, right? This is blind. This is like Helen Keller blind.
This is Helen Keller. That's fucked up. My producer's trying so hard not to laugh right now. So what happened was, as you guys would have heard in episode 1, a long time ago, I was very anti-free college, and then about 8 months ago, I kind of changed my opinion. I had this grand idea. Basically, if you made college free, that would naturally cause income to rise by about 1 million over a lifetime per extra person that got to go to college, and you'd be able to reap that in taxes. Well, we had a class session in my political science class. What was it, like 3 days ago on Monday, and we were talking about different economic policy, Keynesian economics, fiscal policy, monetary policy, all that fun, boring stuff.
Trickle down
economics.
Yeah.
And I realized that what I was advocating for, the idea that we wouldn't have to raise taxes and it would just magically create wealth without us ever having to raise taxes, is exactly why America has such a huge deficit. So that's why I've kind of shifted gears. I haven't quite gotten to the extreme point with education that I hold with healthcare, which my idea for healthcare is just abolish all federal aid and insurance, so everything is cash payment only for healthcare, because that'll force doctors and hospitals to naturally lower their costs. As a matter of fact, I believe one of the big reasons why hospitals are so expensive is because of emergency rooms, because they have to admit, regardless of health coverage, regardless of socioeconomic status, or any of that, hospitals have to accept people into emergency rooms. And what this causes is they have to spend all this money taking care of these people who can't afford treatment, and then in order to make up for these costs, they have to overcharge people that can't afford it. So I think that if you were to cut those regulations, as fucked up as that sounds, stop providing free health coverage via emergency rooms for illegal immigrants, because they get free care there too, and we're just create like a cash only system. I think that helped with healthcare a lot, and that I discussed that pretty in depth in what was it, episode 2? Episode 2, yeah, because this is episode 3.
So basically, stop fucking with the free market.
Yeah, just stop fucking with the free market. And I haven't quite gotten to that point with education. We'll see.
See, the way that the market goes... Oh, sorry. You go ahead. Me? Okay. The way that the market goes is that basically we want the best of both worlds here in America, and that's what we're trying to implement. Either you gotta let the free market go and run on its own so that it can regulate prices and services, or you have to go full-on market control. Like, there's no in-between. If you go a little bit one way or a little bit the other, then it's going to fuck everything up. There's nothing you can do to change that. You know? You have to let the market go. Otherwise, it's going to change in ways you didn't expect.
Yeah, like back to hospitals and stuff, the reason they aren't abolishing healthcare and stuff is because the doctors are actually making money off of it, because free healthcare provides no incentive for the average American to eat or live healthy, so they're constantly going to be going in for healthcare and having to use like the federal money and be paying that monthly stuff for the healthcare. So there's really no incentive for Americans to live healthy, and that's making money for the doctors.
That's actually something I didn't think of, is the fact that obesity and drop in American diet and just in overall American health can be contributed to that, because why would you take care of your body if there's no incentive to? If you can just take it into the shop, so to speak, and get it all fixed up.
Exactly.
There's zero incentive for it. That's actually a really good point. I haven't quite gotten there with education, just because we've unfortunately permanently messed up education in the ways that basically through grants and through federal funding, what we've done is we've actually created colleges with way better facilities and education systems than has ever previously existed. And what that causes is it causes these colleges to basically have to jack up their prices, because they have so many people applying. And as we all know, when there's high demand, this naturally causes inflation. So we just, where we are with education right now, I don't think it's practical to say we need to cut all federal funding and all federal programs such as FAFSA and so on and so forth.
No, at least not until I'm out of college.
Yeah, exactly. Wait until I graduate with my law degree, please. Ethan has to use the restroom. No,
or maybe just leaving. Yeah.
Okay. Well, now there was 2.
The
Basically,
last melon.
The way this episode's going to work now that Ethan's gone, we're going to just sit here and talk until one of us inevitably dies or has to leave. My money's on Nick. I'm just kidding.
I'm immortal, so I don't think I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Can we get a time count?
21 minutes.
21 minutes, so we still have 20 minutes to talk.
I didn't realize that we got all the way halfway through it.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
We should probably get some more articles, since that
we really should. We've got finals week, guys. VA. Oh no, Bitcoin's wildest ride, up 40% in 40 hours.
I'm gonna make a little comment. Bitcoin just reached $11,000
That's my producer
for
for those.
one coin. One.
I remember back when Bitcoin was first a thing.
Worthless.
Why? I
People
remember.
are like, what?
I remember when Bitcoin was at 300 per Bitcoin, and this wasn't that long
Wow.
ago. This was like only a couple of years ago, and people were making fun of others for buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Who's laughing now?
There are people that have made millions, even when the market was bad,
Mm-hmm.
from Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is it's the future, guys. So go out, rob a bank, and use that money to invest in Bitcoin. I'm kidding. I don't advocate for that. I think at this point it's really difficult for quote-unquote non-wealthy people or the average American to jump up on the Bitcoin market. But let's read this because up 40% in 40 hours, that's insane.
It's ridiculous.
The virtual currencies gains this year have accelerated recently, bringing its year-to-date gain to more than 1,500%. That is how much it has raised this year, 2017, alone. Bitcoin mania reached new highs Thursday as the price of the digital currency jumped about 40% in about 40 hours, smashing through 5 separate $1,000 barriers and surging past the $16,000 mark. At one point Thursday, the price briefly jumped above the $19,000 mark on some exchanges before quickly retreating back to the $16,000 level. Even for Bitcoin, which is notoriously volatile, the upward lurch was jarring, astounding outsiders and thrilling those who have piled into the digital currency in recent weeks. The rally has been sparked by the collision of Bitcoin's sudden faddish reputation and the anticipation of institutional investors entering the market for the currency for the first time. I am so mad that my mom didn't jump on this when I was a little kid because I would have had college paid for. They are the main stage now. I'm sorry, they are on the main stage now, said Charles Hayter, the CEO of research firm Crypto Compare. Are there other cryptocurrencies that even kind of amount to the popularity or I know there's like Dogecoin and all these other weird like wannabe Bitcoins. But I'm going to let Russ talk on this if he wants because
I'm going to jump in very briefly. There is one coming out from the people that made YouNow.
Never heard of it.
It's like a not like chat roulette. It's like it's more used for like vloggers and YouTubers when they want to go like live, you know. But they're creating a cryptocurrency currently. Yeah.
I feel like Bitcoin has reached. Well, it might because if I think right now there's an appeal.
I don't know anyone that hasn't heard of Bitcoin.
Yeah, with Bitcoin's value going up so high, I think that at this point there's at least going to be some appeal for a cryptocurrency that's more affordable, and I think that might be kind of interesting to see a lot of people invest in this new cryptocurrency in hopes of trying to get rich like the Bitcoin people did. And I think would be really cool is if this large surge of people investing in this new cryptocurrency, if that caused the value of that cryptocurrency to soar above Bitcoin because there's so much interest and then Bitcoin just fucking dies.
That'd be sad. Honestly, that'd be sad.
It happened.
Because, I mean, yeah, Bitcoin is usually used on the black market for buying people, passports, guns, you know, whatever you want.
I remember in high school.
And that's where it kind of got its reputation from, which kind of sucks. Because it's got obvious value of almost hitting 20 grand.
I remember in high school, me and...
For one non-existent coin.
In high school, me and one of my two former closest friends, we used to go into the computer lab, and we would actually... This was after I moved to Paso Robles, so this was after Calaveras. We used to go into the computer lab, and we would go on the deep web and just look at the shit you could buy on the black market.
How did you manage to get there?
I can't like talk about it.
A couple methods that you have to do.
Tor.
You have to get software and Tor.
Tor. That's with Tor.onion kind of creepy stuff.
No, but it's good. We need Tor more, honestly.
We do.
With the whole net neutrality. Do you guys want to talk about net neutrality?
Net neutrality.
Because I feel like you guys are divisive about this. Because you're all for free market. Free market means internet too.
Oh, I know. I'm definitely for net neutrality. That's
For net neutrality?
Oh yeah, no, okay. So
As in, you want ISPs to control.
here's the thing, like,
because that means you have to pay for porn. They could throttle. Okay, so since they can control your speeds per website,
let me
they could
let me
essentially
tell you
make you pay for porn.
let me tell you my side on this.
Save it.
So I am all for personal liberty and freedom of the market,
and
everything.
it's a freedom though. If you're all for freedom, as you said in the beginning,
but not on this issue.
not on this issue.
No.
You can't cherry pick.
Well, yes, you can.
Now, why can't you?
I think just about everyone politically.
It's a freedom. The internet is a freedom of. It's where people can express.
You can absolutely cherry pick political ideas. I think that you should have the freedom to smoke weed. I don't think you should have the freedom to go murder someone.
Well, no. Okay,
I think
those are two different topics, though.
I think it's incredibly important to maintain net neutrality.
I'm gonna have to say I disagree with you, and the reason I say that is
Oh
because...
no. Maintain net neutrality means keep the internet free.
Right, for people, but technically it's against the free market. Because...
So wait, I'm confused. Do you want there to be net neutrality?
You want ISPs to be able to control the load speeds of your sites, the load speeds of your videos.
That would be removing net neutrality.
That'd be removing net neutrality.
Yeah.
He's for... I'm the opposite.
There is... It's...
Right, no, let me explain. Net neutrality has only been around...
Colby, you have to pay for porn.
I don't watch porn.
I don't believe you.
Whatever.
I believe
anyway,
him.
so the thing... I don't need to. No, I'm just kidding. There was a time. No, So here's the thing about net neutrality. Net neutrality as a law has only been around since 2015.
Really?
It's only been around since 2015. That's what they won't tell you. Net neutrality did not exist prior to 2015. So all of these hypothetical problems that you're talking about
have already existed beforehand.
Did not exist beforehand. As a matter of fact, there is only one issue, and I might be wrong on this. I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of comments from people correcting me on this. But the only notable example of quote unquote a breach of net neutrality before net neutrality.
He's doing quotes.
Air quotes. The sorry, that's hand motions when I talk. The only breach of I guess we would say the quote unquote free internet that it existed before net neutrality was Comcast. And what Comcast did is they were trying to buy out Netflix, and Netflix said, "Go fuck yourself." And so in response, Comcast was throttling the internet speed of everyone that tried to access Netflix. And then the FCC came along and said, "Quit your shit."
That's pretty passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Not even passive aggressive. That's just aggressive.
It
That's
is.
just mean.
It's
So
bullying.
there's that one issue. But the thing about net neutrality is it didn't exist before 2015. And as a matter of fact, I was in the shower this morning and I thought of the perfect...
Porn.
No. What I view to... Shut up. What I view to be the perfect metaphor for net neutrality. Can you imagine if the DMV came out with a law, or some government agency came out with a law that said it was illegal for car dealerships to charge you more money for different types of cars?
But they already do.
No, you can charge more for a Ferrari than for a Buick Regal.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if the government came out and said that that was illegal and that all cars and automobiles had to be the same price?
The market.
So no, because cars, I'd say, are probably an even bigger necessity, at least where I live, than the internet. So why is it fair to say that it's wrong to charge more money for better quality of service in the sense of the internet? Why is that wrong? But it's not wrong.
Because wait, all right. So with the internet now, you pay for a certain speed, and that's with your download speed and all that. And with this, it's well, I guess you'd say before this whole thing happened. What are you staring at?
Nothing.
Oh, okay, you keep going this way.
I don't know what you're talking about, Russ.
I don't know, man. Your eyes look like you're going that way.
I don't know what you're talking about, Russ.
Before that, it's kind of an issue of like per website thing. I guess I feel people are more concerned about.
I'm gonna have
because like if you're a gamer, And like, yeah, you already pay for a better speed. If you're an avid gamer, you do live streams or stuff like that,
Mhm.
you want better speed.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's more, not as a whole, but individual kind of things.
Here's the reason I'm against.
Because
net
like
neutrality.
we pay like $120 for our internet,
Mhm.
and we have pretty good internet. We've got several devices, 2 computers.
Here's the reason, other than the fact that I don't think it's absolutely necessary. Another big reason I'm against net neutrality is, consider this. Say Comcast decides to start, as you so kindly put it, charging you $5 a month extra. This is an example, to access pornography online. Wouldn't you think that that would make it easier for companies that don't charge that premium to move into Comcast's territory and to motivate Comcast to then get rid of that policy?
True.
So that's why I'm against net neutrality. The law's only 2 years old, and I
And
can't,
before that, nothing was ever done like that.
at least not on the scale that advocates of that people are thinking. And so
And Comcast
That's
has
unnecessary.
come out publicly saying that even if net neutrality is ousted, they won't do anything untoward.
they won't,
Using
because they
that.
already got boned last time they
Yeah,
tried it,
yeah.
because a lot of people got angry.
A lot of people have Netflix.
A lot of people have Netflix. Maybe that would have flied back in, what was it, 2010 when they tried this? I might be totally wrong on that date. But I doubt it would fly now, especially since this issue has been brought into the public light with the whole net neutrality debate. So I think that net neutrality is ridiculous. I think that it should be absolutely 100%, because you can try to say that that the internet is a utility all you want, but the matter of the fact is the internet is a product of the collaboration of thousands of private companies.
And the
internet-
government.
Yeah.
No, really. Like the whole reason this was started was so that scientists around the world could collaborate, and the government helped massively fund that. Like they from the beginning, Tor was funded by the government.
I knew that. The Tor was a Navy project.
Yeah, and now there's a college in I think Chicago that they have a whole room of computers that are Tor based, and like you're allowed to volunteer your computer to be a server.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
You can not sign up for the Tor program, but you're like, my body is ready. Take my computer.
yeah, but I think it could be widely argued that, well, that they helped to set up that nowadays, though,
yeah,
it's largely privatized. I mean, Google, as we know, is the big Silicon Valley
biggest
internet
search engine.
kingpin.
Yeah.
And let's be honest here, most of the other search engines, I believe Bing got in a lot of trouble for this. Bing was basically just, when people would search something up, they'd run it through Google very quickly, steal all the search results from Google and post it up on Bing.
Oh, okay. Because
I've never heard about
I
that.
know Google has gotten in trouble. Like during the election, they got in trouble for filtering results.
Mm-hmm. They
Like-
did.
Like when you would search Hillary Clinton, you wouldn't get Hillary Clinton falling, Hillary Clinton seizure. You'd get Hillary Clinton approval rating and stuff like that. Not the bad stuff. You get only.
I already have
Yeah.
a lot of problems with Google and specifically YouTube and
Well,
what they're
Regarding YouTube, is that the whole ad
Like
thing?
the,
It's become more and more PC, and it's been harder for
yes.
content creators
Thank you.
to
Yeah.
profit off of their videos.
One good example is this podcast. Odds are we will not profit from YouTube because we talk about controversial subjects, but we are a quote unquote news
Entertainment, opinion based. I'd consider us to be more entertainment than anything.
Yeah, but we do talk about heavy
it's-
subjects.
It's
you know?
news based.
Yeah, we talked
So-
about
We
talked about the shooting in Texas. We've talked about hurricane victims. You know,
But even saying shooting,
yeah.
you get demonetized
Yeah.
for that.
So
Yeah.
for us to make a profit, that's why I'm going to start branching off to new avenues to help support this project that we have, so that we can get better microphones. We can have maybe better microphones. That's
I
about
think it would
it.
be. I really just want I think it would be cool because in downtown Sonora there are a bunch of abandoned buildings. I bet if we, and this is a long ways off.
Yeah,
I
renovate
think
the
it'd be
studio.
really cool to have like a little studio, even
Yeah.
if it's just a small little corner.
Yeah, that's
apartment
my end goal for my business is
Yeah.
a studio, and so I have recording rooms, and I have
That's cool.
So-
Yeah. I've been lucky enough to find Russ while he was starting out, and so Russ was like, "Yeah, let's."
I'm down.
Russ, as a matter of fact, it wasn't even my idea. Russ approached me and he was like, "Hey, I need experience producing podcasts. I need somebody who has something to talk about or that's interested in creating content. Are you down? And I thought, wait a minute, you mean you'll let me say whatever I want on air? And he's like, yeah, you could say whatever you want on air. I'm like, yeah, sign me up, please.
Yeah. It's just that when I go back over these to edit, I do talk to him about, certain things. Like we had a small thing last episode, but we did correct it. He's issued a statement. We have edited the video. In the description, there's the same statement. Just little things like that he'll come to me and he'll state, hey, I'm a little worried about this statement or what I said. And I'll be like, we'll just make a simple statement. If you really said something really messed up, apologize.
Yeah, the unfortunate reality of just politics in general and these kind of podcasts and this kind of content is that you really have to be careful with what you say, because you can say something that in context makes complete sense. It's completely logical and it's a valid opinion. But unfortunately, as we know with Milo Yiannopoulos, Alex Jones, and even Donald Trump, and
people take things out of context for fun.
And PewDiePie.
And PewDiePie. Oh my God!
Did he ever get his?
He did.
He got back.
He's monetized again, I believe.
He did lose his little YouTube Red series. Still.
He did, yeah.
But he issued a personal statement to the Wall Street Journal that was pretty great. It was honestly, it's on YouTube. You can find it. But
would you?
Yeah.
People, yeah.
And several YouTubers came to his defense.
My only disappointment about that whole situation, because I mean, the Wall Street Journal, news organizations are going to do what they do, but my only disappointment was that YouTube did not defend him. Yeah. Their star, basically.
No, they're. Well, he's not like the only golden boy of YouTube, but he's
he's definitely one of them. And they did not step up and have the balls.
They never do. I know.
Okay, there's a reason. There's a reason why.
Yeah, I know. Tobuscus
with
too.
The whole rape thing, which was absolutely unsubstantiated, and there were several other people.
No defense from YouTube on that one either.
Yeah. Because it's not their place. They do not have to.
That's true, but
they don't have to, but they also don't have to take away.
Because when you start making content for YouTube, you are independent. When you file for taxes while working for YouTube, quote unquote, you're an entrepreneur. You're on your own. It's your business. It's how you make money. They're not liable for what you say,
They act like they are.
And if
that's true,
if you have dealings with them like a YouTube Red series, they can cut ties with you. Yeah, you can still make content and publish and get ads.
That's still a statement in and of itself.
They're making money off of him, and I understand. I absolutely agree, and I don't think that they. And I 100% agree with the statement that they're not obligated to. But I think that from a moral standpoint, the fact that they're making a lot of money off of him, they could. I think it would have been not even moral. I think it would have been beneficial to them for them to stick to their guns and say, "Hey, leave him alone."
But then you got to realize that's a business confronting another business, and they are very large businesses. You have the Wall Street Journal, which has been around since we found New York.
Yeah,
and
we found New York.
Yeah,
we found the city of New York. All the buildings were there, and the
Statue of Liberty was there. Everything.
It's true. That's how New York happened. Founding fathers.
Guys, look at this architecture. This is all natural.
This is crazy.
It's true. There were naturally pigeons everywhere. This is how New York happened, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. God was like, New York.
I actually went to New York. What was it? Back in late June, early July. And I remember walking around New York, and I was like, "Whoa, this is completely blown away." And then we went into. It wasn't the Empire State Building, it was the Freedom Tower. And as you got higher in the elevator, as it went up, the actual sides of the elevator were screens, and so was the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it changed, and as you got higher, it went through a timeline of New York and what New York looked like. So it started off with like a couple of small little cottages.
That's cool.
And then more buildings, and it shows like... It's awesome. An active timeline. It shows New York happening as you're going higher, and then at the very end, this was the really fucked up part, and I understand why they did it, because they have to be accurate, but you get up, it's like 2000, there's the Twin Towers, 2001, they're fucking gone.
Oh.
And then I'm like, ooh. Hey, at least they didn't edit in like a little plain
Yeah.
verb.
No, that would be terrible.
Hashtag never too soon.
One of the things that I very firmly believe in is that with comedy, you shut your brain off, and so with this statement, it's very largely comedy based. You know, Colby makes very offensive jokes, and I try not to laugh, but in the background you can hear me snickering a little bit because with comedy, people say there are some lines you don't cross, but
I completely disagree.
I 100% disagree.
Yeah, no. Comedy, you turn your brain off and you laugh. Okay, all those dark little thoughts you have, let them out. Let them laugh.
Here's the thing about comedy, is it serves a very important purpose. It helps us to face really dark and terrible things in a way that can cheer us up about it. You know, it's a whole new perspective on something that before you wouldn't have been comfortable talking about.
That's one of the reasons why because I was actually strongly inclined to cancel today's episode for finals and just for studying. And then I realized, hold on, I understand you're busy, Colby, and this is me having my own weird conversation to myself because I'm crazy. I remember telling myself, well, hey, Colby, yeah, you might be stressed. Yeah, you might have other stuff to do. Best thing to do is pop a couple caffeine pills, stay up till midnight. My producer just winked. Stay up, get your stuff done, or at least as much of it as possible. And regardless of time constraints, just go and do the episode because you always have a ton of fun when you do it. You're going to have a guest on the show. And
you had two guests.
Two guests until one of them
unexpected
left. And
guest.
now Russ is guessing.
Yeah.
And this is actually a lot of fun. And so that's one of the reasons I came to this because every single episode, we do talk about serious topics as Russ pointed out, but at the end of the day, while I might be a political commentator, I also consider myself to be a
kind of a comedian,
a comedian and an entertainer. And so I figured, well, I always have a ton of fun when I do this. Why not go ahead and do it?
It's almost like an outlet.
It's an outlet. It'll take my mind off of finals and all the crazy stuff that's going on for even just a minute. And so that's a big part of the reason I'm doing it also because Nick was so excited when I invited him. And I was
you really?
Yes, yeah.
He was very excited. I can't even remember how the invitation happened.
I think you just did it. You just thought of it.
We were sitting outside in front of the library and we
Yeah.
were talking about something with politics. We talk about politics all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, what are you doing Thursday? And he's like, I'm chilling at home because I don't have classes that day. And I was like, hey, do you want to be a guest? We've been looking for guests. He's like, hell yeah. And then Ethan came in on accident. I'm sorry, I'm stretching and yawning.
Yeah, go ahead and finish your fun.
There's an episode that we want to do, and we want to aptly title it Red versus Blue.
Mm-hmm.
And those are
This was supposed to be the plan for
Favorite
today.
show.
yeah, good show. But color-wise, what is libertarian? Is that blue?
That's purple. No,
Purple.
Wait. No,
That's
hold on.
cute.
No, well, because it's red and blue. I know that. Funny enough, the libertarian animal, because you know how like Republicans are elephants, Democrats are donkeys.
Yeah.
The libertarian animal is the porcupine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, don't tread on me, kind of thing. But it's
Oh.
not rattlesnake, but it's like don't step on me, because then you'll get the spikes, kind of deal.
You
Yeah.
get screamed at for being a racist, even though you were like
Libertarian
That's not libertarian.
colors. I
You're
want to
thinking
say.
You're thinking of liberals.
I want to say it's
liberals.
purple.
Sorry, I don't know why I get those so.
They start with the same thing. It's all right. I mean,
but
Yellow.
I don't know. Yellow.
you won't get yelled at.
Yellow or
Okay,
gold.
go.
Hero. Okay.
Which is interesting because I've always looked at.
I thought it was yellow. I thought so.
Well, I've always looked at you know that square that has 4 different sections. There's like blue, red, green, and
yeah.
what was it, purple? And it's the
Sense.
political spectrum, and it's like top left is authoritarian left, and then bottom left is libertarian left, and then
Yeah.
right is libertarian right, and then top right is authoritarian right.
It's like green, yellow, red, and blue, right?
Yeah, and so is the libertarian square yellow? I thought it was purple.
No, I think it is purple.
Why don't you just Google it?
You can look it up.
Libertarian square.
Libertarian square color.
I don't think that's gonna get the...
Here's what I found on the web for libertarian square color.
It's called a Nolan chart.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. What's my template?
Yeah, but so yeah, I always thought the libertarian color was purple, but apparently it's gold. That
No,
makes sense
that's
though,
not
because
it.
if you look at the libertarian party banner, it's like a yellow torch.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
libertarians, and I say this as a former libertarian and as somebody who's sitting next to a libertarian, libertarians scare me sometimes.
You're welcome. Happy to help.
But yeah, episode hopefully 4 or 5. I mean, maybe we can do a red versus blank. What do you identify as? I always forget. Yeah, Republican. Like,
my political beliefs are incredibly complicated because I'll say something, and you're like, oh, he's a libertarian, and then I'll say something else.
He's a liberal.
He's alt-right. No, I'm what you would. No, I'm really weird because I'm like a libertarian with a dash of nationalist, not white nationalist, regular like Western.
Oh yeah, he clarified all this.
I clarified this in episode 1. I'm a libertarian, but I love Milo Yiannopoulos. The term I've always used in the past is conservatarian. Conservatarian. I'm like
what,
a
are you
weird.
Trying to save the planet?
That's what it sounds like. No, I'm like a weird hybrid baby between. No, I'm like if Ron Paul and Milo Yiannopoulos had a love child, and then that love child was raised by Alex Jones, and then his first kindergarten teacher was Rand Paul. And then he had a brief gay relationship with Austin Peterson. Like that is my... If that person were to then become like an ideology, that's what my ideology would be.
Oh.
So I'm a weird blend between...
Oh, you have the colors.
I do, yeah. So it's red, blue, green, and purple, and libertarian left is green. I believe.
Okay.
I knew libertarian left was green because those are like the...
Yeah. Not that it matters. Yeah. It's just a visual representation.
So what are red and blue? Those are just Republican.
I believe that those are authoritarian left and right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm not getting a whole lot of internet service in here.
No.
So.
That's weird. I do fine.
Yeah, my data's not working.
Oh, okay. But we wanted to do an episode titled "Red versus Blue: One extreme end versus the other," and that episode, I don't know really if that episode would even feature Colby. Because, I mean, you're not an extremist on either side.
I'm really not. I think that probably the best thing to do...
We'd have to get 2 people in.
We'd have to get 2 extremists in here.
And you'd moderate it.
And I'd have to moderate it. Well, yeah. I'm really weird because I...
do you know any snowflakes?
Fuck, I do, but...
hi, Nick. I'm just kidding.
I am not.
One of them lives
Again,
in San
that's liberal, not libertarian.
I have to think about this. I had a really good friend in high school. Shout out to, if you're listening to this, William Carney. And I wouldn't call him a snowflake because he was actually very intelligent. And no, he's very intelligent and very articulate, and he backs his points. I mean, I disagree with him politically on just about everything, net neutrality being one of them. And we would this is how we would spend our lunches in high schools. We would just talk about this kind of stuff, economics, politics and stuff. And we disagreed on everything. But he was actually one of the handful of really, really intelligent, well-spoken. I think he self-identified as socialist. And he was the socialist version of me.
Well then.
But which was funny because he was Catholic. So he was a socialist Catholic, but at the time I was a conservative because I hadn't quite reached my libertarian peak. I was a conservative atheist, and so neither of us fit the archetypes. Both of us were very unstandard people. But as for snowflakes, I don't want to call them snowflakes because I mean.
Could you get Anita Sarkeesian?
I wouldn't say I know anyone that's
cool,
I definitely know people that have snowflake-ish beliefs, but I don't think I in person know anyone who's fuck capitalism, install communism,
yeah, I don't know
kill all straight white men. I know people that have some communist far left beliefs, and they believe in the patriarchy, and they think that racism only applies if it's white people being racist to others. And I know people like that, but one of them lives in San Francisco, and another one who interestingly enough, she's very pro-gun, so I can't even call her a snowflake. I'd say she's probably moderate like me, but she's more outspoken liberally, kind of like how I'm quote-unquote moderate, but more outspoken conservatively. So I think she's probably more like me than I think. I know a lot of hardcore conservatives. I mean, we live in Tuolumne County. We're Little Texas here.
Apparently California is one of the most conservative States.
Well, parts
California?
Yeah.
No,
Parts of it-
California is
Like
the
a
most
lot of it.
liberal.
Oh,
Well, it's not the
I've,
most.
I've heard it's like
No.
almost all conservative,
No.
surprisingly.
No,
Only the parts that we
California-
live in.
Only the parts that we live in.
Okay.
And California has almost always. I think the last Republican that I'm probably
The Last
wrong on this.
Republican. That sounds
The-
like either
the-
like a survival movie or
The last Republican. do. It is the year 2030. Democrats have taken over, and being a Republican is 100% illegal. There is one man
As
who will
opposed
challenge
to
them all.
90% illegal.
Introducing the last Republican coming to a theater near you.
maybe if it's not
Maybe.
banned.
If it's not, if it's not banned by the leftist.
No,
media.
they'll support it.
I think it would be great if
As long as he
somebody.
dies in the end.
I'm just curious how much money it would cost to get Michael Moore to direct this movie. Like, I want to know Michael Moore's exact sellout number. Like, what's his sellout price? Because
You mean
he's
like
super
you
far
mean
left.
Michael Bay?
No, Michael Moore.
I
He's
don't-
an uber like liberal socialist, and he's just a piece of shit because he's not even intelligent about it. No, he's so dumb and he's so liberal, and he like hates Trump with every fiber of his being.
Michael Moore, I hope you're watching
I'm
this.
not. I'm not saying that people who hate Trump are stupid, because I know a lot of people that hate Trump. I've definitely had my moments where I'm like, screw this guy.
I'm no personal fan of
I
Trump.
will admit, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but the amount of disrespect that's been shown towards him is
it's a little bit too
unreal.
much. It really is.
it's like, guys, he was in office 2 weeks.
Even before he revealed he was a piece of, like, actually revealed he was a piece of shit, people were being mean about it. It's like when he first started, so before he got like hardcore,
Yeah.
people
People
were
are like, yeah,
Wisconsin.
he's racist, but Rush Limbaugh interviewed his black butler, and on purpose, or not Rush Limbaugh, who was
Alex
it?
Jones.
Huh?
Was it Alex Jones?
Maybe, but he no, because Alex Jones is a fan of Trump. But there was an interview with his black butler, and the interviewer was trying to get him to say bad things about Trump, but the dude wouldn't, because he was like, yeah, the dude paid for our vacations. The guy, he's a good guy. You know, Trump.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen him be actively racist. He's condemned the KKK,
Mm-hmm.
and if he was racist, why would he condemn his?
Well,
You know.
I think one of the biggest arguments for
Is
Trump
the
being
whole
racist,
wall thing?
Well,
That's not
that's probably the most
It's not
well
a
cited.
race issue. That's an immigration
No,
thing.
I absolutely
Yeah.
agree. That's probably the most well cited.
I think that's more of an argument for
I think-
stupidity.
I think the strongest argument for the idea of Trump being racist, and I wouldn't even consider this a strong argument, is well, the wall. No, is the idea that his father was arrested at a KKK rally, but they never figured out why he was at the KKK rally, and so for all we know,
Well, that's
his father. That's his.
though.
Well, exactly. That's his father, and a lot of people are saying like father like son. He's racist. Blah,
When
blah.
did we start punishing
Am I an
the sons
alcoholic?
for the sins of their fathers?
Are you an alcoholic?
Maybe.
Exactly.
No.
Maybe only on days that end with a Y.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm turning 21 here pretty soon, and I am so excited. Not because I'm going to be able to get not because I'm going to get hammered, but because I'll have the ability to get hammered, like if I want
I get
to.
it. I get it.
It's going to be fun. I'm actually more than anything excited about wine. Like as weird as that sounds, and my dad has been so disappointed in me in this.
Well, there's a lot you can do with
my
like lots of alcohol.
my
you
dad
know?
is a beer guy.
Yeah.
And so when my dad found out that I was more
Well,
with
like,
my mom on
see-
this, because I'm more of a wine person, and that's how my mom is. My mom's a wine person, and my dad is a beer person. And I
But like, what
very
kind of
strongly-
beer? Because I've had some beers that are like, this doesn't taste anything like
No,
your,
I've
your
had
name
good beer.
brand Bud Light
I've
and
had-
all that. I've had like experimental off, you know.
The two, I'm not a big beer guy, but I will say that the two beers that I do like are, we're totally off topic, but I don't care. This is finals week.
From Trump to beer.
I'd say the two beers that I really like, and one of these I have a bias towards, and you'll understand in a minute. But one of them I like is Blue Moon. I love Blue Moon. That's one of the handful of beers that I'll drink. And when I say handful, I mean a whole two. And then the other one, and I have a bit of a geographic bias towards this, is 805, because that is from the Paso Robles area, which is where I've lived for the last 5 years before I moved down here. And so I have that little bit of bias. I was surprised to see how many people drink 805 down here. There's a good amount of it, and I didn't realize. I thought that was
Part of my job is we do recycling
Mhm.
on Mondays, and Yeah, we find a lot of those.
805.
Yeah. Over at like Lake Comanche, that's where we do the recycling.
Okay.
And it's ridiculous.
Lake Comanche, I forgot about Lake Comanche. It's weird. I'm still, every once in a while, somebody will say something. I'm like, shit, I have to readjust to this place.
Yeah. No,
It's been 5 years since I left.
It's been 5 years.
But anyway, so my dad, I remember, it was a while ago. It was a couple months ago. I was talking to my dad, and he's like, do you like beer yet? I was like, no, I'm a wine guy. And my dad was like, oh, come on. Because my mom's a big wine person, and I've kind of taken after her. And ironically enough, and by the way, this was completely on accident. One of my favorite wines is Colby Red. No, one of my dad's friends bought it, and she poured me a glass, and she's like, it's called Colby Red, maybe you'll like it. And I was like, yeah, whatever, this is probably going to be crap, because she bought it for $10 at Walgreens. And I took a sip, I'm like, damn, this is some good red wine.
Yes.
This is some great red wine. I'm a wine guy, so I'm very excited about wine. Another thing I'm really excited about is cigars. I miss cigars. I was so mad when they changed that law, because like I was able to buy cigars, cigarettes, chew, whatever I wanted to, regardless of whether or not I wanted
stock
to.
up and sell it.
Exactly.
That'd
I
be
almost
the
did that. When I went to Nevada back in, what was it, March? Yeah, May. I was briefly considering, and not seriously considering, it was almost entirely a joke, but I was like, oh dude, I could go to Walmart, buy like 2 cartons, not packs, cartons of cigarettes, come back here and like make money, because they don't have the ridiculous tax. First of all, because it's legal to buy them over in Nevada. Second of all, Nevada, they don't have the crazy tax rates that we do.
Yeah.
They might in Vegas. I'm going to Vegas in January.
Nice.
That's going to be very exciting.
I want to make a joke. I want to make a joke. I'm not going to.
Go ahead, man.
Are you going to make a Vegas shooting joke?
Yes.
I'd love to hear it.
I was just going to say, don't get shot.
There you go.
Don't get shot. My brother was in Vegas when this happened.
Oh.
Or at least I thought he was, because he had left to Vegas, and apparently he had left like the night before this happened, and I didn't realize that he had left Vegas yet.
Oh.
And so I saw the news that there was this Vegas shooting, and I was like, son of a bitch. So in the middle of English class, and my English teacher was giving me this look, I explained to her afterwards, and she's like, oh, okay, I totally get it. But in the middle of English class, I'm scrolling through news, and I see the Vegas shooting, and my first thought is, oh no, Brandon. So I call my brother. I'm like, dude, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I left Vegas yesterday. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yes.
Part of me was like, damn it, I have somebody to compete with on the list still. Gosh darn it. I still have to split the money when my parents die. Damn it. No, that's messed up. I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad.
Not I love you, brother.
You too, Brandon. Well, you have to remember, I have a lot of siblings. I had no idea. Yeah, well, if you consider step siblings, so like there's.
I really don't.
So you can afford to lose a few, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Well, no, Brandon's the only one that I'm blood related to, and then I have Austin, who lives in Colorado right now, with his boyfriend, I believe.
I can hear the beard scratching.
No, Austin lives in Colorado. Dylan lives in Paso Robles still with his dad. And then Brandon, who's finally back from Russia. He lives.
Why was he there in the first place?
He was in Russia because he wanted to be a foreign exchange student, and of all the countries he chose, he decided Russia would be a good idea. And he actually got, my favorite thing to tell people is he got deported, which isn't factually correct. It's just that because he was American, a lot of people in Russia didn't like him, so it was really hard for them to find him a host family that wasn't going to be a problem.
Oh.
And so that's my understanding of why he left, but my favorite thing to tell people is that he got deported from Russia.
It's close enough.
No, he gets mad at me when I say that, though, and I know he's probably never going to listen to this, even though he's subscribed to the channel.
Ha.
So, haha, loser. No.
Ha, you got deported. No.
You got deported.
Yeah.
No, and then there's the one that I'm actually probably closest to would have to be Kate, and that's my stepsister, and she just turned 17, and she's great. Her and all of her friends, and I'm friends with a lot of her friends. They're great, and her boyfriend I absolutely love. And no, I'm dead serious, because she was very nervous about me meeting him because she cares what I think, and we're close, and she's like, actually, you might like this guy. And I was like, nah, I'm going to threaten him. And I met him.
What a good brother.
I would threaten him, and I'd be like, I'm gonna peel your skin off, and he'd be like, yeah, that sounds hot, and then he'd like add suggestions on how to really make a torture bird.
Oh my god!
And I was like,
As
God
you do.
damn it, I love this guy, and so I really, really, really like my stepsister's boyfriend, a lot. Shout out to Tyler. How are we doing on time?
Hour and an hour and 1 minute.
Wow, this is the longest
Yeah.
episode we've had,
Yeah.
mostly because the
The
talk
rambling.
of politics has been non-existent. This has actually been a lot of fun, just sitting around and talking.
Yeah, he producer here. Just a few minutes ago, I saw him look over at the time, and then his eyes went all wide, and he just looked back at me, and I was like, "Yeah,
Run time's a bit over.
Feels like it.
I guess that's gonna have to bring this episode
Yeah.
to a close. I'd like to dedicate this episode to my ex-girlfriend, because if she had never broken up with me, I never would have moved here, and I would have never have made the friends I've made here. And
there you
actually,
go."
as depressing as things were in the beginning, things are great now. I love life, and so
Yeah, you're doing something you like.
as much as she absolutely like refuses to have any contact with me, and that's fine. She's allowed to live her life. I'd like to throw out a thank you and a shout out to Mary. Thank you. At the time, it seemed horrible, but this is actually a blessing. So thank you so much. Anyway, so yeah.
Thanks for listening. This has been Mathe, a political statement with Colby Mathe and Nick.
And Russ. Because of
Yeah,
Russ.
I decided to jump in, and I tried to keep my views to a minimum. I feel like I did. It was mostly with the Bitcoin thing.
Thanks for having me,
Bitcoin
guys. It's
Charlie,
it
yeah,
was a lot of
thank
fun.
you so much.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you in episode 4.
Red versus blue, possibly. I don't want to make any
Maybe.
promises because that's going to be a hard episode because
Yeah.
we're going to have to get like a lot
Extremist
of like
people.
extremist people, and those.
And I don't know any extremist people.
I wish you guys luck.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Nick.
yeah.
I'll let you know if we.
What I want to maybe
know
what
If
I
you
want
need
to
me
do.
again, I am happy to join.
Yeah.
So
What I might want to do is just title an episode Rainbow and have one person from every single party.
that'd be cool. I'll definitely join that
Not
one.
even extremist, just one person. So you
That would be
You.
interesting, and I'd have to make some calls, but I think I
and
could get
just
that.
2 other people.
Oh yeah, that'd be
And
great.
like with the logo, you could have the white M and then the different colored M's.
Well, because you're more left libertarian, right?
Yeah, I'm.
You're still yellow though.
So I'm kind of
Or
moderate.
purple.
I'm moderate libertarian leaning. So that's how I really define myself.
Okay, so I'm moderate. So I'm a registered Republican.
So you're red. right?
So I'm red. You'd be yellow. I have another friend who's also yellow, but he's more to the conservative side of
Oh, that'd be a nice
libertarian.
contrast.
If I could get him to come up here,
Yeah.
that would be cool. That might be a bit of an issue. I could also probably get maybe a Democrat or two. But as I said, we live in Tuolumne County, and that's really hard to find up here.
Yeah.
Is somebody who'd be willing to.
Columbia.
Are there any clubs, political clubs here at the school?
There's probably some.
We just need
We
one.
used to
person.
have a political science club. I've been meaning to go down to the student center to revive it. I just haven't had the time with finals week. I might do that first thing next semester.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, thank you for listening to episode 3. I know that today wasn't really all that political, but I think this was actually probably the most fun episode I've done, just because it's taken my mind off of
finals week.
finals week, and
There you go.
we had guests and everything. So this was a fun episode. So thank you for listening to episode 3 of Mathe, a Political Statement. This has been finals week, and have a wonderful day and good night.
And buy our merch.